Warriors fans, if you guys want your favorite NBA team to make a blockbuster trade this offseason, which personally I think could very well happen for the Golden State Warriors, go on ahead and like this video for me. You never know what the Warriors front office is doing. I just want to see how many fans out there really want to see a big-time trade happen this summer. Hit that thumbs up, and let's get into it. On Warriors Today by Chat Sports, going to be breaking down the latest trade target for the Golden State Warriors, a really pivotal player that we really haven't discussed that much. But since a new report did come out about this player potentially leaving his team and coming to another powerhouse like the Golden State Warriors, I want to talk about it here on Warriors Today. You got Allie Barefoot here. Let's break down what Marc Stein had to say. NBA Insider talked about how the New Orleans Pelicans are actively, aggressively exploring a trade for Brandon Ingram. Now, we knew last season wasn't his best season that he has had, especially when he popped off in 2020, became the most improved player, earned himself a 5-year contract, and then the Pelicans, who had a chance to make a run in the playoffs, ended up not making it out of the play-in tournament, and we know injuries plagued a lot of that possible outcome, but the fact that Brandon Ingram didn't have the best season makes me wonder if maybe the Warriors could go out and get him for a little bit of a lower price, because there are actually fit concerns around CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion WIlliamson. And if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans front office, I am for sure building around Zion. And I would like to add CJ in there as well. So the odd man out, unfortunately, is going to be Brandon Ingram, who is entering his last year of that contract. But whether or not he could fit in with the Warriors is the question here. And actually, we do have a quote here from Hoops Hype that talked to some NBA executives about possibly bringing Ingram to the Bay Area. Sean Devine said, for what the Warriors are going to be looking for, Ingram is the kind of guy they will be in the market for, because he's a player who can score, but is a little bit damaged goods, and maybe the price is lower than it ought to be. You know, you can keep him healthy, you're careful with him, and he can carry you through. He is still young. He's 26 years old, and that is absolutely what they want. And this actually does check a lot of boxes in terms of whether or not you're kind of trying to lead a little bit younger with the younger guys like Kuminga and Trayce Jackson-Davis, Pajemski, but you still get to build around Steph Curry by giving him the resources that he needs, which would be secondary scoring, which would be providing some height, some versatility on the wing for the Warriors here, especially if Klay Thompson does not re-sign. So let's look and see what Ingram did this last season. 20 points a game, which is great for Ingram, but it honestly was pretty unfortunate after the year before that he had a career high of almost 25 points a game. 5 boards, 5 assists, which would be great, especially if you don't include Chris Paul in your roster next season. You're going to have somebody that's still dishing out those assists, getting Steph Curry the ball that he needs. But he did shoot about 49% from the field, which wasn't his best. And unfortunately, he only did play 64 games, and he did hit the injury bug toward the end of the season, which I do think did plague the Pelicans for possibly having a good run here in the postseason. But like I said, Brandon Ingram would immediately check a lot of boxes. You're going to add height. You're going to add 2 inches shorter than Trayce Jackson-Davis, but you're getting a guy that has already played in the league for so many years, and he's been playing for a team that is constantly getting better. While he didn't have the best, most productive year, you are going to be getting a versatile wing that can play numerous positions. We've seen him at the 2, at the 3, at the 4. Plus, you could always put him down low if you did want to kind of mix around and put maybe Draymond Green at that 4 and see what Ingram could do, and he'd still be contending with some bigger bigs in the West. But he did only play 225 of the last 318 games for the New Orleans Pelicans. And it's unfortunate because a lot of these players who are that kind of size do tend to hit the injury bug more frequent than others, but you got to look at it. Brad Stevens did this with the Boston Celtics. He went out and took Kristaps Porzingis knowing he's played 50% of his NBA career, and he made it through 2 regular seasons without having an injury, when a lot of people plagued him for not being able to be reliable in the NBA because of injuries. If Brandon Ingram can stay healthy, he would be a shoo-in for the Golden State Warriors to go out and get this offseason. But that's the question, isn't it? If he can stay healthy. But do you guys think the Golden State Warriors should go out and try to trade for Brandon Ingram despite his injuries, despite the little bit of decrease of potential in the last year that he did play. Go ahead and type Y for yes, type in for no if you guys think Ingram would be a good fit for the Warriors, because I am going to bring up a possible trade that a lot of you guys might actually like to see Ingram in the blue and gold. But before I get into that, I have got to give a shout out to Prize Picks, our sponsor here on Warriors Today. I play it every single game day. And what's even better is that I actually went on ahead and put my Prize Picks in for the WNBA season long stats. Here's how you guys can too. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats. It could be for tonight's game. It could be for the weekend's games. It could be for season-long projected stats. If you guys really want to keep an eye on it. But what's even better is that they constantly have promotions that make it so fun to check this app every single day. When I wake up, I snooze my alarm more than once. I check my messages. I'm like, okay, everything seems great. And then I go to Prize Picks. So I want to see what they're offering that day. And for the past, I want to say week, on Prize Picks, they've been offering a Caitlin Clark promo that is gold. If you guys want an easy, free square, this is it, because they have Caitlin Clark, the NCAA leading scorer, both men and women's, having more than half a point. Come on, it's got to be an easy win. I'm taking the more. I already put that in. It's already on my Prize Picks that I've already got going here for tonight's game. But then I went on ahead and made another pick because I saw I do have a $5 guarantee protected play, win or money back. So I made this Prize Pick super simple, just $5 to win 30. And I've got Evan Mobley to have 4 first quarter points. I really want to test my skills on the first quarter, the first half. You can do this for any NBA game, NHL game, anything like that, or you can do full game spreads. So I do have Drew Holiday having less than 7 first half points, but then I've got the great Prize Pick specials that combine Caitlin Clark and Anthony Edwards to have more than 52.5 points. I love it. These are my Prize Picks. Going ahead and feel free to copy those, but you guys can also make your own by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Let's talk about what skill set Brandon Ingram would bring to the Golden State Warriors pretty much right off the bat. Still being 26 years old, he would immediately become the secondary scoring option for the Golden State Warriors. Why? Because the secondary scorer was Klay Thompson, and he only had 17 points a game, and that was a stretch to get there by the end of the season. He was fluctuating between 15 and 17 points a game, so to add Brandon Ingram's 3-level scoring ability would be huge for the Golden State Warriors. You need to add height. The small ball is over. So to have a wing, to have that small forward be able to play the 2 through 4 and score from any position, whether it's taking up a big down low or whether it's going around the 3-point line and dishing it out to Steph Curry or taking that 3 himself, he'll do it. And something I've noticed with Brandon Ingram, at least in the year that I thought personally his box score may have declined a little bit, but his playmaking did get a lot better, especially playing with a superstar like Zion WIlliamson. He understood how to create those plays to make sure that Zion finished at the rim. And that is a little bit selfless basketball to me, and that's what Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors need, is somebody with good court vision and good playmaking abilities that he still has room to grow. And I think with a veteran coach like Steve Kerr, that 26-year-old is really going to learn a lot of things, especially he's going to learn how to be more aggressive when it comes to playing alongside Draymond Green. Because we do know, unfortunately, Ingram's future in NOLA is very uncertain. Because they are actively seeking that trade, because he is on his last year of his 5-year contract, which he'll only be paid $36 million in that last year. I know that sounds crazy to say only, but there are a lot of players that do sign 5-year contracts that would be paid a lot more in their last year of the contract. He was paid $33 million this past season, and now, of course, because he did have a little bit of a decline in his production, and they're not fitting well with CJ McCollum and Zion WIlliamson, they're definitely going to be able to give him away in a trade that doesn't cost the Warriors as much because they don't have that with the injury. So the sources are right now is that there are 10 to 12 teams that could be interested. And unfortunately, there are some teams that are interested that do have a lot of cap space opening up here in this 2024 offseason for the NBA, which does make it a little bit tricky for the Warriors to provide enough to be able to go out and get Ingram, because you got to look at this. According to Marc Stein, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Orlando are among the teams that are interested. We already know Philadelphia and Orlando has millions of dollars opening up in their cap space, and they've also got a ton of players, whether or not it be the younger core of the Orlando Magic going up against Jalen Suggs and Paolo Banchero, or you could go with the 2023 NBA MVP with Joel Embiid. Pairing Ingram with him would be a huge move for Philadelphia or Orlando, so I could see them really trying to make something happen here, especially with Atlanta Hawks just got the first-round NBA draft pick, and Cleveland, who's vying for the semifinals right now in the NBA Eastern Conference. It makes me wonder, these teams are really going to be active in the offseason to make sure next year is a lot better. And we know the Golden State Warriors don't have any money. And that's where this gets so tricky, is because Brandon Ingram, who's coming off a 5-year contract extension entering into his last year, is going to be looking for another extension. Ingram is not looking to sign a one-year deal and be done. Ingram is going to want to be with a team that's going to pay him for the next 4 years, for the next 5 years. And the Golden State Warriors right now are trying to shed salaries, not necessarily trade for a guy, just for 1 year, help us win a ring, and then ship you back out. Ingram's not going to be that type of player. I promise when you look at his resume at the end of his career, he's going to be with teams for a while. And I don't know if the Warriors right now can afford to pay somebody for a while. But it all depends on what the New Orleans Pelicans do want out of this trade and what they would be willing to get. In this trade scenario, like I said, because he does have the injury bug, it does make him a little bit cheaper, as Marc Stein did call him, damaged goods. But Brandon Ingram would come to the Golden State Warriors. You would shed $30 million with Chris Paul, who has a non-guaranteed next year. You would unfortunately have to give up an under $10 million player, which would be Moses Moody. And we did know that Moses Moody was probably going to be involved in the trade package because he does have a lot to offer numerous teams. He's becoming a very elite player and playmaker for the Golden State Warriors, but he's not as high up as Jonathan Kuminga is in the front office, so you got to pair Moses Moody with that. Along, you're going to give 2 first-round picks, 2025 and 2028, and then I added 2 second-round picks in there as well, just to really make it emphasizing to the New Orleans Pelicans, hey, look, we're giving you a lot of our future here to take possibly our future and bring him to the Golden State Warriors. Don't have to give up as many players, but you will have to give up a lot of stock to get a player like this, because he is going to have a lot of teams vying for him. The Warriors don't have money. We could possibly give him stock, and that could help Brandon Ingram come to the Golden State Warriors. So my question to you guys is, do you make this trade? I personally think it's not too much to bring Brandon Ingram here. I know a lot of you guys don't even want Chris Paul to return to the Golden State Warriors. I know you love Mo, I love Mo, but you've got to include Moses Moody in any type of trade, whether that or it's going to be Kuminga or Podziemski or Trace Jackson-Davis. The Warriors have so many young assets that it's going to be really important to put them in these trade package with the younger veterans. So going ahead and the older veterans. Going ahead and type A for accept, type D for decline. I'm taking it. I'm taking Brandon Ingram. Especially if they're calling him damaged goods right now, and you can get him for a trade that only includes 2 players and a couple of draft picks. Absolutely, Brandon Ingram would take the Warriors to a next level next season if he does stay healthy. And that's a big risk you're going to have to take on somebody, but you're only giving up Chris Paul, who I know a lot of you guys don't want, and the New Orleans Pelicans could also use another point guard alongside CJ McCollum, and they could definitely use shooting guard Moses Moody to make that team a little bit younger. So I'm taking Ingram. But you guys go ahead and let me know down below. And as you are there, go ahead and like this video for me if you love the Golden State Warriors. If you want them to make a blockbuster trade, we've got you covered right here. All you guys have to do is like this video.